What's going on? What's going on, everybody? It is the only sports podcast. You're listening to the sultry tones of someone who's been sick for, going on 2 weeks now. I'm slowly dying inside, but I slowly am sacrificing myself for this podcast. That's my co-host, Casino, right there.
That's me.
Bringing back Beanie Fridays. That's a nice beanie.
Thank you.
Looks homemade.
It was. One of my coworkers' moms actually made a whole bunch for the employees.
Damn, that's actually very nice.
Yeah,
it's a nice looking beanie. You're pulling it off well. But how you doing, Casino?
I'm good. I'm dodging the COVID right now. My wife's sick in the other room, and my kid and I, we've been trying our best to avoid it. So far, we are good, but we shall see.
Yeah, my wife. Oh, Jesus.
My wife.
This is just gonna hurt everybody else's voice listening to me. But my wife and kid had it twice, and I avoided it both times. And then I got it, and they avoided it for me. So it is doable, Casino, even if you live in the same house.
Fingers are crossed, man.
But what is not avoidable is Josh Allen beating your New England Patriots.
I already called it. I told you that's what was going to happen.
I know, and I picked your Patriots. I had faith, but
they're too beat up. But that's not the talking point of the game.
What is the talking point of the game for you?
Pretty much Mac Jones being upset about them not going for longer passes and just doing too much on the run game and dumb passes. That was kind of his interview. He didn't straight out say I'm frustrated with the coaches, but he was like, it's on me. He goes, kind of want to see us do a little more, with the deeper threat than the, with the checkdowns. He's like, it works. And he's like, that's where my frustration was, because he was showing frustration on the sideline. And so he got asked,
who do you think he was yelling at on the sidelines?
He said it wasn't directed towards anybody. I honestly don't think it was. I mean, if anybody, it's kind of just hopefully it reaches the coach's ears to actually go for longer passes instead of just running game consistently. And even though I love seeing our high school do well with Ramondre Stevenson, it's fun seeing him play and do well, but I think it was more generalized to everybody. Just like, hey, why don't you trust me and we could do a little bit more deep throws here? Hey, our receivers want it. I want it. The fans want it.
The people who watch football games want to see it because, this defensive coordinator being the offensive coordinator has not worked for the majority of the season. So why would they not try to mix it up? But even then, I mean, they're still 6-6. We're talking about them like they're, 2-6 or whatever. They're still in the hunt. They're still right
what we
there.
Should do? We should just auto-tune you for the rest of the day, for the rest of the podcast.
I know. It hurts. But I'm committed to this podcast.
Unlike me.
Yeah. I'm my wife was like, it's me or the podcast. And I said, it's the podcast. She said, I'm taking the kids and I'm leaving. And I said, I got a podcast to record. So bye-bye. And then the doctor said, you could lose your voice forever. And I said, I need to record this podcast. And I gave him the bird and walked and put these cans on, Casino. So here we are. But I thought the big news you would say coming out of this game is the rumors that I don't know how they got started. I don't know where they came from, but all of a sudden now there's talk about Tom Brady coming back to the Patriots.
I heard that.
Where did this come from?
I don't know. I heard it last week and I don't buy it. I don't buy it one bit.
No, especially because he's clearly winning in the Brady Belichick feud. So why would he come back and help Belichick? He's winning. I don't know. But would you percentage wise of you think that he could possibly come back?
Go with my favorite number. I'll say 4%.
4%. I would say I don't think he's coming back to Tampa Bay next year.
Oh no, he's
I
either
think he
retiring or
fucking
going
hates it
somewhere
there.
else.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
No,
His ultimate dream is to go to San Fran and win the ship there. Just, I mean, yeah, take Jimmy Garoppolo out of there. Even though I like Jimmy Garoppolo, and you put Brady in that system over there, huh?
yeah. Well, there's also rumors that he wants to come to here, Vegas. I think those are the two leading candidates if Josh McDaniels lasts. But I mean, that's a real question because I don't think he's done anything this season to prove that they made a mistake firing him in Denver. Like, I don't think he's a good head coach. I
Oh
really don't.
no. And everything that we've watched from this season, this is not on Brady. Like he's hitting literally people in their hands in the end zone and they're dropping it. Like
Yeah.
it's hitting them in their hands. They've already got a hands on the football and they don't reel it in. What happened to those two, Godwin and Evans? Like mainly those two. What
Yeah.
happened to them? Like they forget how to play wide receiver.
Well, and they still have a top 6 defense in the league. So the defense is holding up their end of the bargain, but we've talked about this for weeks. They just can't score touchdowns. Like, and from what you said is true, where they haven't had a running game except for the past 2 weeks. And then before that, they had no running game. Nobody could catch anything, and they just weren't scoring touchdowns. Like it's honestly the better version of what Denver is, right? Because Denver has this also great defense, but they're even worse offensively. So at least they're not, that's worst case scenario to what they could be.
It
So,
could be different. That's fair enough.
but any takeaways from the game last night other than from the actual game itself?
No, not really, to be honest. I knew that's kind of what it was going to be. Um, I'm kind of Belichick had weird not his typical uh game management with his timeouts. I thought those were weird. He was
Yeah.
talked about it in the press conference that he was going back to when they played the Ravens, yada yada yada. So he was doing it for an actual reason. He wasn't just having Alzheimer's for being as old as he is. But uh yeah, it's all right. It is what it is. I knew we were gonna lose that game.
Well, it is weird to see Belichick now like have to step on the field with a team that he knows his team is worse than the team they're playing because what? He didn't have to do that for almost 20 years, like where he knew every game he was at least as good, if not better, than the opposing team. And now we've seen the past 2 seasons where it's just like, oh, I'm playing against a Bills team that's on paper, on the field, any way you want to slice it, way better than my team. And this has kind of been the result, right? Like it's just he wins as many as he loses. And I still think he's the best football coach ever. But I do think that if he keeps continuing this, where it's just his team wins as much as they lose since Brady left, I think there is just going to be that he couldn't get it done without Brady kind of stigma to him.
I agree.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
All right, let's jump into the rest of the games this week on maybe the best week we've had this season, just in terms of matchups. Like there is a lot of damn good games. And that all being said, let's start with a shit one because it's just in the order. We have the 4-8 Green Bay Packers at the 3-9 Chicago Bears. I believe Justin Fields will be playing in this game. I do not know if it'll be Rodgers. I'm assuming it'll be Rodgers.
I really hope it's not.
I would like to see. I think this game would be interesting if it was Justin Fields versus who's their backup? Oh, Jordan Love. I do think that would be more interesting, but I
and
think
you know what? Love came in and he didn't have bad numbers when he came in and replaced.
No.
He got a touchdown, no picks. Right? Yeah, it was no picks. He was like 75% on his I don't have it pulled up, but
Yeah.
he did what he was supposed to come in and do. Trying to come off the bench and win that game, tough to do. But
Well, I mean, he also came in when it was already garbage time.
yeah,
So,
yeah, that's
yeah.
what I'm saying. It was tough for him to come in and do anything from it, but he did
Yeah.
fine. He did
But no,
good.
he looked good. He looked good when he was in it. Like, and if Rodgers is really as banged up as he's leading everyone to believe, like the Packers are out of it. They're 4-8. They're not getting, they're 3.5 games behind the Commanders. Like they're not getting in the playoffs. So I know he did that press conference where he was talking about, oh, I'll only sit if we're like mathematically eliminated. Like you don't need to be mathematically eliminated. You're eliminated. You're not making the playoffs. There's nothing you guys can win out. You're not making the playoffs in the NFC. Maybe the AFC, but the NFC, you're done.
No, he's done.
So that all being said, I do think because Rodgers is playing this game, I think you have to go the Packers, right? He has an unbelievable record against the Bears. I don't think the Bears, they have no one on defense to stop them. They traded away all their good players. Justin Fields puts up crazy, crazy numbers, and then he just disappears in the fourth quarter and he can't complete a pass. And then the Bears always, we've talked about this for a month now. The Bears will be leading by 2 touchdowns going into the second half of the game, and then they'll lose by a field goal or 10 points. And you'll be like, they were winning for 3 quarters. How the fuck did this happen, bud?
So you're going with Green Bay?
I'm going with Green Bay, Aaron Rodgers.
I'm going with Chicago.
Oh, what's your reasoning on that, Casino? Make the case. Will I grab the binder?
It's kind of like that Jacoby Brissett thing where you can't trust them. Like for Chicago, they have the leads. They can't close out a game, but every now and then they get one. And I think Chicago really wants to get this one. Rodgers, if he does start and he goes in, he starts performing slightly, under par because of, getting taken out the other day. And um, I think that he'll start getting frustrated, and then when and if Jordan Love comes in off the bench and replaces him, is he going to be able to come back and win them the game when they're probably down by a touchdown? Um, I just really want to see Chicago win, so I'm going to go with that, and I just have a feeling that Chicago wants this one bad, and I think Rodgers just mentally coming back from injuries, if things aren't going his way, he's not going to blame it on himself getting injured, or he will, but he'll blame it on pretty much everything but poor play.
What? That doesn't sound like him.
Yeah. So I'm going to take Chicago on this one.
All right. Let's go to the next game here, which is, as I'm slowly dying, the 4-7 Pittsburgh Steelers at the 5-7 Falcons. Who you got, Casino?
Oh man, no matter how much I want to say Falcons because I like Mariota and they are playing at home, I am going to take the favorite by 1. I'm going to take Pittsburgh on this one. They don't look good, they're 4-7, but I think they'll just find a way to win it out. Pickett has been awful. Mariota's been decent, but I just think Pittsburgh somehow, some way will figure this guy on out, probably on Harris's back. But that's where I'm going to roll with this one. Even though Mariota, he has been playing decent. Yeah, I just think this is kind of a gamble with the roll of a dice, but I am going to take Steelers on this one over the Falcons.
To be honest, I don't know what to make of this game. This just seems like
it's Steelers -1. Like
yeah, I mean, it deserves to be a pick 'em. Like I honestly would have thought it would have been, yeah, 1.5. You said it's 1.5, right?
No, just 1.
Oh yeah. Like this just seems like a toss up. Neither of these teams are going the right direction. I think The I think I'm gonna go with the Steelers. The
That's
Steelers
what I
look
think.
like yeah, figured something out. They look like they have a little something against. I mean, I know that game against the Colts wasn't the best, but Kenny Pickett at least shows something. I don't know what it is. I don't think he's a good quarterback, but he has like that win no matter what kind of mentality that I like. And we both love Mariota, but he feels like he's kind of reverting back to
He's reached his point in this season. He's just gonna go backwards.
yeah. And this is why he has never been a starter. And this is why he can't stay a starter because he doesn't have that consistency. So I'm going to agree with you and go Steelers. Also, because I really feel like Mike Tomlin really loves that stat where he's never had a losing season. And I feel like he cares about that more than he lets on. So they need to start racking up some wins here because I mean they're 4-7. They have Falcons, Ravens, Panthers, Raiders, Ravens, Browns. So if they can beat one of the Ravens one time, like they can definitely win Falcons, Panthers, Raiders, and then Browns. Who even knows what the Browns are going to be with Deshaun Watson coming back? So
I think
he
awful.
Oh, we'll get to well actually let's just segue right to that game, Casino. Maybe I mean on paper this game looks fucking awful, but everybody's going to be watching it to see what Deshaun Watson looks like. The 4-7 Cleveland Browns at the 1-9-1 Houston Texans. The obviously returning Deshaun Watson will be starting his first game ever as a Brown. David Njoku has been ruled out, which is great because I just picked him up in fantasy. So glad that news broke 3 hours ago. Who you got for this game, Casino?
Oh, I'm going Cleveland. I mean, even if Watson's bad, Houston is just unwatchable. I don't think I've watched more than 2 full quarters of a Houston game this year.
Let's see. Well, they played the Eagles, so I watched that whole game. And then didn't they have a game in primetime? Weren't they on like a Thursday night game a couple weeks ago?
Maybe I just didn't watch it.
I think it was them and the Thursday game was against the Eagles.
Yeah,
So
the
maybe
Thursday
they
was
didn't.
Eagle. No, they didn't.
Yeah.
Maybe it was a Sunday night prime time, but I don't know why.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I watched them against the Eagles and then when they played the Chargers. So I think those are the only two games I've watched theirs. But yeah, the Texans aren't as bad as their record indicates, but that doesn't mean they're good. Like I really feel like they deserve to be kind of where Steelers Falcons are that we were just talking about, like that 4-7, 5-7 range, because they play hard. And every one of their games has been close. They haven't got blown out, I don't think once. So I think this game will be close, but the X factor in this game is Deshaun Watson because he hasn't played for 2 years. So what if he comes in and I mean, we saw what a year difference makes between with Russell Wilson, where he just
Oh
came
yeah,
in and it just looks like he forgot to play football. Like with all the shit going on in Deshaun Watson's life, how you know how dedicated has he been to keeping like football sharp for the past 2 years? Get what I'm saying? Like, and it's not like if he was tense or anything, he could go out and get a massage, right? Because that's what got him in the first place. So I don't know. This game is a lot more. This game is a lot is a lot more intriguing than it should be. But I will definitely be watching this game just for Deshaun Watson. Ugh, blowing people's fucking eardrums out with my fucking squeaking. But are we both going the Browns, Casino?
yes. I do have a question though. I mean, it's 12:30 on a Friday. Why aren't you in school with that little schoolboy voice that you have there?
My mom let me stay home. She let me stay home. I just got done watching Price is Right. So that's why I'm
Dude,
here.
that was the best.
That was the best.
Whenever I was sick, it was always cream of wheat, just cream of wheat and fuck the oatmeal shit. Cream of wheat and Price is Right, and I was a happy kid.
And you know what's funny is now both of us work nights, and I never fucking watch The Price is Right during
Oh,
the
dude,
day. Never.
I can't. I mean, I really don't think it's bad with the.
Drew Carey.
Thank you. I was about to say Jim Carrey. I'm like, no. With Drew Carey, he's actually done good with that show. He's a good TV host. But and the show is still fun.
It just doesn't have the same pizzazz.
I mean,
right?
I'm up that early now because I mean, I'm sure I know you are too with the kids, but
Oh, you're up that early? That early being 10 a.m.
yeah,
You're up that early, Casino? 10
yeah.
a.m.
It's tough sometimes. It's tough, but I'm too busy to watch The Price is Right. It has to be like the kids shows or Bluey or whatever.
Yeah. My son is like Go Dog Go. This Netflix show, it's like the shittiest production for a kid show you've ever seen in your life. They did one episode where they were just running around town and there was only trees and the entire background was white. So it was literally just like they're running through a town and it's just you see a tree every once in a while. And it was like, did they just lose their entire budget for this one episode? It was so weird. Even weirder than that, to put a cap for the end of this discussion, my mom to this day on her DVR records Price is Right every day. That's fucking weird, right? That's weird.
Mm-hmm.
And she watches them too. It's not like she just lets them sit on there. She like watches them, which again, weird. But let's move on to contender for best game of the week, the 7-4 7-4 Mike White led Jets.
Oh yeah,
no motherfucker in this game.
no,
Mike White, he only
he's
fucks other teams. You know what I'm saying?
Angry. Yes.
7-4 New York Jets at the 9-2 Minnesota Vikings. No primetime Kurt for this game because this game is at 10 a.m. our time, which this feels like it should have been Sunday night, right? This feels like a weird.
This is a good game. This
feels really like it should have been America's game of the week or whatever.
Oh man, I'm torn on this one. I honestly think the Jets are going to win with their defense and Mike White, but I need, as a Patriots fan, I need the Jets to lose. They have to lose if the Patriots want any hope. So I mean, just for the pick'em's sake, I'm saying the Jets, but man, do I hope Kirk Cousins wins.
Wow. Imagine if this was for like your life and you were like, oh man, I hope Kirk Cousins wins. You would be sweating for 4 hours. And you just be praying that somebody wasn't trying to tackle him as he's falling backwards and he just fucking chucks it. And there goes, and you just hear the click of the gun, and they're just like, it's over. I'm done. But so I like Mike White. I do. I like him, Casino. I like him better than that motherfucker because
well, I mean, he motherfucker's out on the prowl, so hide your kids, hide your wife. That whole thing.
Mike White, if he wins this game, he'll now take over as starting motherfucker for the mothers that Zach Wilson was fucking. So he'll also be benched and be starting there. I don't know. I think this Jets defense is really good. They're only allowing less than 18 points a game, which is crazy. But then when you look at the Minnesota Vikings offense, they're actually I just had them. They're actually a lot lower than you think they would be.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're 17th in the league in points scored, which is like less than, I mean, that's like dead even in the league, which you would think they would be much higher with everybody they have on offense. But for saying all that,
drink some water. Drink some water.
Yeah. Let me ponder it for a second.
Yeah, good boy.
Oh, let me Christian ponder it for a second. Remember that used to be the Vikings starting quarterback?
That was way to go.
Thank you. All that being said, I'm agreeing with you. I'm going with the Jets. I think they get it done. I think the Jets are a way better team than their record indicates. They just could
I do
never
too.
do anything on offense.
They need a quarter. If they had a middle of the road quarterback, if they had a Kirk Cousins,
Yeah,
this team would probably have the Kirk Cousins record currently. They would probably be 9-2.
I agree. I think Zach Wilson definitely cost them minimum 2 games
Oh
just
yes,
because he just doesn't never looks like an NFL quarterback. But I think the Jets, if they can be the 17th ranked offense in the league, I agree with you. I think they can be the Minnesota Vikings of the AFC and with a better defense, and they have legit offensive weapons. So we're both picking the Jets. Next up, maybe game of the week casino. The 4-7 Jacksonville Jaguars at the 4-7
I'm
Detroit
looking forward to
Lions.
this game.
I'm not gonna lie, this actually looks like a pretty damn good game. Both these teams are fun to watch. Uh Lions, I think, are way better than their record indicate. Jaguars, same kind of feel. It's weird how this week it feels like everybody is playing their other division or their other conference like
Equal
doppelganger, basically. Like the Jets are playing the Vikings, and those teams feel very similar. These two
Pittsburgh playing
teams feel like,
Atlanta.
yeah,
Yeah,
these two teams feel like the NFC and AFC versions of each other. So who you got, Casino?
I'm taking the Detroit all day. They're actually underdogs by a point at home. I don't agree with this. I don't agree with this at all.
Oh yeah, this being in Detroit. I don't, yeah. They're underdogs at home. Also, Aiden Hutchinson revenge game because he's been talking shit all this week about the Jaguars passing on him for number one pick. So I feel like with certain players that shit actually really matters. He seems like the type of dude where that would piss him off. And he's had like what,
Here's some
two or
water.
three of the craziest interceptions this like the past like 3 games or whatever. I think he has another one because Trevor Lawrence will do that Tyler Heineke thing where he'll just throw the worst interception you've ever
That's why you
seen.
got sick, by the way.
What?
You never drank your Heineken. You didn't use the alcohol to
Still
kill
haven't.
it. I
I
know.
know. I know. I got to get that Heineken.
You saw
I actually don't.
you saw how much Crown that I put in my Coke yesterday.
Yeah,
I'm not
he's talking
sick.
about his cocaine.
Yeah.
He mixed it with his cocaine and he just drinks it.
Yeah, I thought
That
it was
can't
like
be how you do it.
it was like powdered sugar in here, like, or just like regular sugar. Just throw it in there and stir it up, man. Whew.
Um, but all that being said, I agree with you, Casino. I would like to disagree to get more picks on you, but I really do think the Lions win. I think the Lions, haven't they won 3 in a row? They're starting to or
No,
three of the
they
last
had
four or
lost.
something.
Yeah, they had lost one. Yeah, they were on a 3-win streak, and then they lost to the Bills barely,
That's
which we
oh
thought they
yeah,
were
that's
going to
true on
win.
Thanksgiving. Yeah. And they were close that whole game. That game was a
No,
lot
they're
closer
they're
than you
they're
think it
going
would
to
be.
end up. I think they will end up on over 500 because I mean what they got left is Jags. Uh, so they have the Jags and then the Vikings, Jets, Panthers, Bears, Packers. They lose to the Jets. Um, they lose to the Jets. They lose to the Vikings. So I guess they'll be 8 and I think they'll be 8-9. But they're right on the verge of being um that 500 team.
Well, I don't know because last time they played the Vikings, they only lost by 4. That was a tight game. I could really see them beating the Lions or beating the Vikings because the Vikings,
All right. So they're all winnable games outside of the Jets.
yeah, I agree. And the Vikings, just to speak of that, they play Jets this week, Lions next week, then Colts, Giants, Packers, Bears. So what? Vikings will probably lose just maybe to the Jets and Lions. I could see them winning all the other 4.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Dude, that's crazy. The Vikings are going to go what? They're 9 wins now. So 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. They're going to go 14 or 15 and still not be the number 1 seed. That's fucking crazy. This like this league feels very top heavy this year. It's really weird. but glad my team's at the top. The top. Speaking of my team, great segue. Thank you so much.
Welcome.
We're
Oh, we
going.
didn't say Baltimore, Denver, by the way.
We must be looking at it differently because I'm just going in order.
Oh, I look out on the CBS Sports app.
Oh, see, I go on NFL.com.
Ugh,
So
gross.
they just have it differently. But next up, we have the 7-4 Tennessee Titans at my 10-1 Philadelphia Eagles. Who you got for this one, Casino? Also, what's the line for this one?
What do you think? No one here.
I think, let's see, 3-win difference. I think Eagles 6.5.
4.5.
Okay. Yeah, I could see it.
Titans are going to bring it to you guys. I guarantee it. I think with what you guys put up front to stop the run, I am going to take Philly on this one. I think 4.5 is pretty much spot on. I think you'll be under a touchdown, a touchdown or less. This game's going to be close. This game's going to be close. And if it's not, I'll be shocked.
I would be. This is one of the two games I think remaining on the Eagles schedule that they lose. I think the Titans are maybe of the next 6 teams they play, and of the teams they have played, I really do think the Titans match up the best with what the Eagles do in terms of playing good defense. They can contain Jalen Hurts running like how they contain Mahomes that whole game they played. And, Mahomes isn't a runner, but he still scrambles in the backfield, and they just were containing him the entire time, kind of like Washington did to Jalen Hurts, where you just make him scramble behind the line of scrimmage. You have everything else covered, and then you just either take a sack, you run out of bounds, you throw the ball away, and that shit just starts to drain you down. I think the Titans defense, I feel like, is going to be the real talking point of this game. They're third in the league, only allowing 84.5 yards a carry. So they're one of the best run defenses in the league. And then they're one of the best, they're not one of the best when it comes to pass defense because they are bottom of the league at 31%. So this needs to be, we've talked about this with this Eagles team this year. They've won every game a different way, right? Last week, they had a historic game rushing the ball against the Packers. This needs to be a Jalen Hurts throws for 300 to 350 yards a game. AJ Brown has 170 and 1 or 2 touchdowns. Like, they need to win through the air, and I don't know if they can. I want them to. I obviously want to see them.
How do you say that? I mean, they've done it before.
Yeah, but I don't know. I just think this Titans team is just, and Jordan Davis might be coming back this week, which he's one of, like, already as a rookie, he's one of the biggest differences in the NFL compared to when he plays and when he doesn't play. When he does play, the opposing running back gets half the yards per attempt rushing than he does when he plays. Like, that's fucking crazy. That's a crazy stat, especially for a rookie to play, but he's a giant man. So we've seen games this year where Derrick Henry just can't get it going. If they get that D-line rotation in, I really do feel like they can stop him. And then it's like, can Tannehill pass against this offense? Maybe other teams have done it, but who's he throwing to? Treylon Burks is a good wide receiver. I don't know if he's good enough to go against someone like Darius Slay or James Bradbury. So, yeah, I think the Eagles win this game, but I'm picking the Titans to reverse jinx my own team because, I'm going back to that well. So I'm picking the Titans, but I obviously want the Eagles to win and hope the Eagles win. I'm going reverse jinx. But if they lost this game, I think the the
Eagles.
blueprint
It's
is
Eagles. You're dumb.
what?
It's Eagles.
I mean, that's what I'm hoping for. I'm doing the thing where you pick the Bills, or you pick the Jets, but you want the Vikings to win, blah, blah, blah. I'm doing that. I'm doing that. Next up, we go to the other two NFC East teams, the 7-5 Washington Commanders at the now 7-4 New York Giants. Who you got in this one, Casino?
I will split a 6-pack with you, my friend. I am going Heineke.
Yeah. And what's your reasoning for Commanders over Giants?
I want to drink beer. Uh, again, I just think that I thought the Jets would start slowing down. They're not, but the Giants, they're clearly starting to slow up. And I think Washington's starting to surge. I know they feel good after that win against the Eagles. So I think they're just going to keep flying high. No pun
I
to
see
your
what you did there.
Eagles. Yeah, I know. There you go. No, but I think they're going to take down the Giants this week. I think
Yeah.
the Giants are starting to slowly they don't got it in them anymore. So
Slowly revert to what everybody thought they would be. I think it's been like you. I agree. I think it's been a good story with the Giants this year, especially in Daboll's first year. But I do think everybody knew with the Jets, it was Zach Wilson was the question mark, but we'd seen Mike White last year come in, have success in this offense for Robert Saleh. And it was like, okay, well, if Zach Wilson isn't getting it done, we have this other option with Daniel Jones, who even is the Giants' backup quarterback. I have no idea. I have no idea.
Saquon Barkley.
Yeah. So their entire offense has been Saquon Barkley, and it seems like teams are starting to figure that out. Daniel Jones then has to step up, and he just hasn't been. He's an average quarterback, maybe even above average, but I don't think he can win games in this league consistently. He kind of has that Marcus Mariota feel where he'll have good games rushing.
Yeah, that's good.
He'll have average games passing, and then he'll do one or two things a game where you're like, wow, but then he'll do three things the next game where you're like, he doesn't have it. So I agree with you. I think the Giants are going down and they don't have a move they can make like the Jets did, where the Jets feel like they kind of saved their season from disaster. The Commanders, on the other hand, they feel like they've just started to be the team, like be the best version of themselves they could be.
For sure.
So Heineke, of course, will just have one game-breaking interception a game. So if the Giants can take advantage of that, that's how they win. I don't think they can. And the Commanders now, I think they start getting momentum. They play. Oh,
sorry, he's taking a water break, everybody.
Yes, thank you. So the crazy thing about this matchup is the Commanders play the Giants, then they have a bye week, then they play the Giants again. So these two teams play back to back basically, and then the Giants, well, the Commanders, they have a tough remaining schedule. They really do. They play Giants twice. So they go Giants bye, Giants, 49ers, Browns, Cowboys.
They played Giants twice in a row.
Yeah, they play them on the December 4th. Then they have a bye. Then they play them again. And the Giants, on the other hand, they play Commanders, Eagles, Commanders again, Vikings, Colts, Eagles. So both these teams just murderer's row of last 6 weeks. Like, I mean, that is rough. That might be, I mean, even the Colts are, we've seen them be a decent team, but Commanders
that's
twice,
rough.
Eagles, Vikings, and Eagles again. That's what, 3 weeks where you're playing the two of the best teams in the NFC. Like that's just shit timing. Ugh. Sorry. I think we're both going Commanders. Let's move on to the next one, which is the Casino's game of the week, the 3-8 Denver Broncos at the 7-4 Baltimore Ravens.
I mean, is there really much to talk about this? I think the Ravens are going to steamroll.
I don't know, because
Okay.
the Ravens, we've been calling them to steamroll teams for weeks now, and they just don't. Remember, in the last 3 weeks, they beat the Saints pretty handily, but that game was close the entire game. They lost, or no, they won against the Panthers by only 10 points, 13-3. And then last week they lose by the Jaguars, when the Jaguars came back with like 3 touchdowns in the fourth quarter.
So who do you got?
Um
You going with your Super Bowl pick, or are you going to go with Baltimore?
No, I've already given up on my Super Bowl pick. And
so Baltimore.
But then again, Russell Wilson also didn't go to my birthday party when I invited him. So I can't pick him. I can't be friends. That is, I think, what is happening to, and we'll talk about Kyler Murray when we get to the Cardinals. I think what is happening with Kyler Murray and Russell Wilson is some of my favorite NFL stories, because clearly everyone around them hates them. So now it's like any tiny petty thing anybody can think of, they'll just throw it out, and then it'll be a media story for like 3 days. And I'll take a drink for posterity, but the story of half the team only going to Russell Wilson's birthday party is like so petty and stupid, and wouldn't be a story if all this shit wasn't going on. It's
so funny.
Love it.
I love it. I laughed so hard when I read that story.
And then we had the weird thing last week with him and his defensive tackle, where the guy was just like yelling at him, and Russell Wilson literally looked like a robot, and like he didn't know how to process what was happening in front of him, which makes him seem all the more fake to me, because that was an unplanned moment. You could clearly see he was like, I don't know how to react to this to keep up my image. Like, does that make sense? Like, it was just...
No, that makes perfect sense to me.
All this, I mean, I agree with you. It's going to be Ravens. I don't think Broncos are done. They've been done since week 1. Like, this is... I would honestly take the Texans situation over the Broncos situation. And the Texans are the worst team in the league. But at least at the moment, they have 2 like top 10 picks. The Broncos just have nothing. They have Russell Wilson and apparently birthday parties. That's all. That's all they got, Casino. Next up, we're talking about... Let me take a drink. We're talking about all these great games this week. How the fuck are none of these games the Sunday night game? The Sunday night game is Cowboys and Colts. What a fucking travesty. What a travesty for this great week of football. This, I feel like, is my pick of the week. I think this will be the best game. The 8-3 Miami Dolphins at the 7-4 San Francisco 49ers. I mean, looking up the stats to this 49ers defense this year, like, I feel like we're under talking about how like good their defense is. They have allowed 281 yards per game. The second closest to them is the Dallas Cowboys, who allow 40 more yards. So the 49ers are allowing 40 yards less than the second closest team. This one is fucking crazy. They're only allowing 79 yards rushing a game. The closest next 2 are Baltimore and Tennessee at 82 and 84. Then it jumps all the way up to 97. So within the top 4 teams, they're allowing almost 30 yards less than the next team closest to them. And that's both in yards total, just rushing, and then passing yards. They are only allowing 202 passing yards a game. Like, this defense is just next level. They're allowing 15.7 yards per game, which is the lowest in the league. They are number one in almost every stat defensively. And I feel like we're not talking about it because
it's okay. I mean, I hear you getting choked up about it. I understand that. So I mean, I get it. They're a good defense. You don't have to cry.
yeah, no, it's really crazy. And then their offense in terms of points per game, dead center in the middle of the league, 15. So their offense, again, average in the league, but their defense
The
is
Niners are
next level.
-4 in this. Do you think they're going to be able to shut down though Tua and his 2 targets?
Well, see, that's the thing. I don't think there is a scheme, a player, or any way you can shut down Tyreek Hill, right? Like there's no way to plan against him. He's just a game breaker. We've seen it his entire career. He'll catch you, he'll just run right past every single player in the NFL. Like you can't scheme against somebody who can just outrun everything. So I don't know. I think they'll be able to shut down Miami's run game, but their pass game, I think it's too good. I think you can only contain it for so long before, you're gone. You're gone. They have the number 2 passing offense behind Kansas City, which is crazy because I honestly felt like they would be number 1. But yeah, I really think the only teams that could compete with San Francisco right now are the Chiefs and the Dolphins. And so even though going into this game, who is favored?
San Fran by 4.
I really think Miami going into San Francisco with one more win, but as underdogs, I really think the Dolphins win. I think
me too. I call the Dolphins all day.
Yeah. I just think there's also too much hype happening with the Niners where I now see every like power ranking putting them as the number 1 team. And I don't know if anybody's watched that game they played against the Saints, but their defense was great in that game. The offense in that game was just abysmal. The Saints have a great defense, but they don't have a good enough defense to warrant 13 points, like with how many weapons the Niners have.
Okay, take your time. Take your time.
I'm getting excited, Casino. That's gonna be a fucking great game. Great game. Go on to the next game, Casino, while I have a coughing fit.
You've got it. My next game that I see is Seattle and Rams. It is going to be in LA. You got the 6-5 Seattle Seahawks versus the 3-8 Los Angeles Rams. It's supposed to be a rainy day. Seattle's favored by 7, which I think is exactly on the nose where it should be. Seattle, I'm still all for them. More because I'm over the Rams. I think that they've literally, we've talked about it last episode, they've shut up shop. They're done. They're calling it a year. They're just saying, okay, let's figure out what went wrong. Let's get all our guys healthy. Stafford, are you really just like over because you won the Super Bowl and you're just like, I don't care anymore? What's going on?
Yeah.
I think Geno still wants to prove as much as he can. He wants to keep as a starter. He wants to prove everybody wrong. Still, he's going to fight every game. And I think -7 is probably the perfect mark for Seahawks in LA. That's where I'm heading.
Well, also looking at the news for this game, Matthew Stafford has cleared concussion protocol, but he's still ruled out for this game. Also ruled out for this game is Aaron Donald. So they already are missing Cooper Kupp. They're missing Stafford. They're missing
their best offensive, defensive player, and their quarterback. It's over.
Yeah. So I agree with you. It really looks like the Rams are just done. They're closing up shop, which is funny for this team to do because it's not like they have a first round pick. So it's not like losing will net them anything better, except maybe a easier schedule next week or next year. But But that's one of those things where they just base it on this year, and who knows? Every team that's good could suck next year. So that's a weird thing to try to, tank for. But yeah, they feel like they're done and they're just waiting for the year to end. The Seahawks, on the other hand, they kind of feel like the Giants almost to me, where they kind of feel like they peaked and now they're kind of like treading water or almost going back to what everybody thought they would be. They had that rough game against the Buccaneers. They lose to the Raiders last week in a shootout in OT. So they're coming off back-to-back losses, but there is not a scenario in my mind where John Woodford, which I believe his name is, yes, John Wolford comes in and beats this Seattle Seahawks team. I think they just have more firepower, and the Rams are missing everybody that makes them the Rams. So yeah, we're both picking Seahawks, who are staying alive in that NFC West chase. And speaking of the Seahawks Raiders, that's who we go to next. The 6-5 Los Angeles Chargers at the 4-7 Las Vegas Raiders. Who you got, Casino?
Sorry. Come back here. I think it's clear I'm going Chargers, even though the Raiders are favored -1. I just don't get it. They're just a shamble of a team. I think the Chargers have started to get better and better every week. I'm going to take the upset and go with the Chargers here.
What? The Chargers are underdogs in this game?
Yep, I won.
That is insane. There's no way in hell the Raiders have done anything to make themselves the favorites in any game this season. They have Josh McDaniels as their coach, which should automatically make them 1 point underdogs to every team in the league.
With that,
I'm picking I'm kidding. I am picking the Chargers all day, even though the Chargers Raider games are fun. They're always close. They're always competitive. I really like Derek Carr. I don't think Josh McDaniels is a good coach. I think this is his last shot at being a head coach in the league, because I don't think anybody else will hire him. Maybe in college football, but I think NFL, this is his last ride. I'm picking the Chargers. I think they'll squeak this win out. I would probably say this game will probably be like 23-20. I don't know. This just feels like a field goal game. Chargers always feel like they play down to their opponent. So I don't know. I'm picking Chargers.
With that, though, also, we're talking about the Raiders.
Casino had to step away to make sure his child did not die. She did not. So that's good. But before that happened, we were going to do Raiders price check because Raiders Patriots is in how many weeks, Casino?
2
weeks.
2?
December 18th. So it is in 16 days. All right. Last time the price started at 278, went down to 268, and then bumped all the way back up to 286. So what is it at now, Casino?
Again, going off of Game Time app, again, not sponsored. I just like saying it every time. Where do you think it went? Just like last time.
I think it dropped to 279.
311 for 2.
Oh no. You had the perfect time to buy it, Casino, when it was 268.
Get this. Chargers at Raiders. So this Sunday, the price for this Sunday for the cheapest that I see for 2 tickets, all in, 188.
Damn. You Patriot fans, you travel. Damn.
Or there's just like a billion bandwagon fans everywhere.
I'm dying.
Yeah,
But
this podcast is going to be so bad, but we're getting through it.
yeah, I mean, I can't talk.
All right, so I'm going to continue while he's fighting it looked like a fly trying to go up his nose.
It's not a fly, it's death. Death going up my nose.
So what we got next? I've got this. It's okay.
I'm gonna grab a water.
You've
Take
got
it,
it.
Casino.
So the next, as I just break my phone. And here comes my kid. So the next game on the docket, the last afternoon game, we've got KC versus Cincinnati. Oh, I know what game we're at. Keep going. KC versus Cincinnati. I think this is going to be one of the best games during the week. You have the surging Cincinnati Bengals at 7-4 versus the KC 9-2. Here you go. Give me. Sweet. This one will be a tough game. It's in Cincinnati. Chiefs are only favored by 2. This one's gonna be real interesting. The Chiefs still look like the Chiefs. They're not falling or progressing. They're just pretty much 9-2 is their record. They're staying around that same caliber. But the Bengals are definitely surging, and this one's a very interesting pick. I think I'm still gonna go with Chiefs here, even though they're on the road. And I need the Chiefs for my Patriots to hopefully make the playoffs. I just think the Chiefs, I think this will be a heavyweight bout, but the Chiefs will slightly beat the Bengals on this. I think the -2 field goal is pretty much where I think this game's going to come down to, with how hot the Cincinnati Bengals have been right now. They're so hot right now. They won their last 3. It was the Panthers, but they blew them out 42-21. Then it was Steelers 37-30, which again, the Steelers have been playing okay. So the Bengals should have done a little bit better there. But the Titans was a big win last week, 20-16. Because as we've been talking about, we do think the Titans are quite talented here. So
they are so hot right now.
They are so hot right now. So this is going to be the best game to watch, I think, during the week. I'm not sure if I get it on my Sunday ticket or not, but I'm actually I should, because the same time is the Las Vegas Raiders, and they'll have that one blacked out. So I shall be able to watch Kansas City, Cincinnati. That's the game I'll be watching. That's what I'll be doing Sunday at 1:25 Pacific time. I'll be sitting on my couch watching that game. It's supposed to be a nice 41 degrees outside, partly cloudy. It's supposed to be good conditions. And Cincinnati is an outside, right? It's not as indoor.
Well, are they playing in?
They're playing
in Cincinnati. So yeah, Cincinnati is outside.
Yeah. So this is gonna be a fun one. Oh yeah, because if it's inside, they don't show the weather update. That's right. So yeah, I'm gonna take KC on this one because I think they'll just edge out the Cincinnati Bengals, and I hope that Cincy does lose. So it comes down to that Cincy Patriot game for us to get in. What's your take on this? This is gonna be a good game. It's gonna be a real good game.
How this game isn't the Sunday night game, I don't fucking know.
I have no idea.
This has Sunday night game written all over it. I will actually sadly not be watching any games this Sunday and have to watch them all Sunday night, Monday morning, because I will be in Knott's Berry Farm. Here's Snoopy to prove it. But Casino went to go attend to his child. This podcast has gone off the rails. It's off the rails. But the Chiefs are 9-2 and the Bengals are 7-4. The main difference between these teams are that there's not really a big difference. Like if you look at the stats for total defense, the Bengals are 13th. The Chiefs are 16th in terms of points allowed per game. Obviously, the Bengals have a better defense than the Chiefs, and I feel like their defense is severely underrated. But then again, is any defense really going to be able to contain Patrick Mahomes? Probably not. He's the leading MVP candidate in the league, even though I think it should be Hurts. But if Hurts loses it to Mahomes, that's not a bad guy to lose to.
He's still they have the best record in the league, and he's done something that no quarterback has ever done in the NFL ever, in the first quarter. So you know what?
Well, also, we talked about this last episode. Patrick Mahomes has 5 more touchdowns, but Hurts has 5 less turnovers. So, I feel like the one win is the thing separating them, right? But yeah. Anyways, and Eagles beat the Colts. Chiefs did not. As far as offenses go, Cincinnati is a top 5 offense. They score 26 points a game. Kansas City scores 30. So again, these teams, the only thing really differentiating them on paper is just
hold on. Do you want to try that word again?
Differentiating.
There it is.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Differentiating them on paper is the 2 wins. I think Joey B is probably one of my favorite quarterbacks in the league. I just really like his.
I like him too.
He just comes off as cool without ever trying to be cool. Like he's just I'm a huge fan. Huge fan of Burrow.
He he could be in a private jet, shirt off with chains hanging around him, doing the gritty, and people think, oh yeah, that's on brand. But instead we get Kirk Cousins doing it.
Well, he's also had a really good career that I feel like is under talked about, and a really good season. His career stats for 3 years, he's thrown 70 touchdowns, 27 interceptions.
Like he's a good
that's
quarterback.
Fucking crazy.
I didn't cry, but I honestly got choked up when he went out in his first season. I was just like, come on, man.
I know.
Like,
that sucked.
The dude, the kid's playing amazing. He's going to be somebody we'll be talking about for the next 10 years easily in this league.
Yeah. And besides that opening day game against the Steelers where he threw 4 INTs, he's only thrown 4 more interceptions since then the entire season. So, and I mean, that goes for Mahomes as well. Obviously, we don't need to build up Mahomes. He's the best quarterback currently in the league. But yeah, I just think the Bengals are really underrated this season, even though they're like great defense, top 5 offense, and they have a top 5 quarterback in this league for every year he's been in the league. And the thing we have not talked about, Joe Burrow 2-0 against Patrick Mahomes in his career. So I think he makes it 3-0. I really think he does. I'm going Bengals.
Nice. I'm not mad at that pick. I'm really not. I just think the Chiefs will slightly, if these two teams play to their potentials, like they play to their standards, I think the Chiefs will slightly edge the Cincinnati Bengals. But again, any given Sunday, never know what's going to happen. And it could be just one botched field goal that could change this game. So
also, Casino, I didn't write down, did you pick Chargers or Raiders?
I'm picking Chargers.
So let's go on to the Sunday night game, which this one is a travesty over the 5 or 6 other games they could have picked. The 4-7-1 Indianapolis Colts at the 8-3 Dallas Cowboys. I mean, to be honest, I don't really think there's anything to talk about this game. The Cowboys should kill them. I really think they should.
The Cowboys should kill them. It's 10.5 favorite for the boys.
I mean, that's insane. That's a little too much. But then again, the Colts, they played my Eagles tough. They played the Steelers tough. They played the Raiders tough.
I think they've got something special right now.
Who, the Colts?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that Monday night game, it was just a couple of fucked up calls at the end that kind of cost them with clock management, obviously, but I honestly don't think Jeff Saturday is as bad a coach as people thought he would be. I take him over Josh McDaniels right now. I mean,
all day.
Yeah. He's the one that beat Josh McDaniels in his debut, right?
Yeah, you put him in Vegas.
I think they're a better team.
They think they're a better team. I still have Dallas winning this one, but I don't think the Colts are going to roll over like I'm sure a lot of people are expecting.
Yeah. What was the line on this one?
10.5.
I feel like I would take Colts all day, 10.5. I don't think this is a game that the Colts lose by more than a touchdown. I really don't. But I think this is one of those games. We've already seen the Cowboys have it this year. This feels like one of those Cowboy games where it's like that Vikings game where they just blow the doors off them and everybody's talking about, oh my God, this is Dallas's year. This is Dallas's year. Or it feels like that Packers game where it's like, what the fuck is going on with the Cowboys? Like, what? How are they losing this game? I really think it's one or the other. I don't think it's close, even though I just said I would bet Colts, under 10. But then again, nobody should take my betting advice ever. I am 0-13 this season on winning any money. So
you're also making like 16 parlays. So
whoa, 5-team parlays.
Fair enough. I know.
Last, but actually probably least, or one of the least, the Monday night game, the 4-8 New Orleans Saints at the 5-6 somehow NFC New Orleans. At the 5-6 somehow NFC East or NFC South leading Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
This game's gonna be tough to watch, man.
Why? I have never understood how the NFL can just not get good Monday Night Football like matchups. Like they get 1 or 2 a year? Like how do they miss that much? I have no idea. Especially in a week we just talked about where there's 7 marquee games. They couldn't have scheduled one of these with any kind of hindsight. I don't know.
Well, this one is for that division. So pretty much.
Probably one of, if not the worst division in football this season.
It's the worst division in football.
I don't know. That AFC South is also pretty rough. But then again, you have the Titans at least. Yeah. I don't know. I think this, probably.
It is. I mean, statistically, it is. Every team is under 500.
Ugh. Yeah. Well, the Tampa Bay Bucks, if they win this, they'll be at 500. So I guess I'm picking the Bucks, but then again, the Saints always play Tampa Bay tough. They really do. But I don't know. But then again, I will never pick Andy Dalton over Tom Brady in any competition.
And this is the only reason. You heard me talk earlier about the frustration with Evans and Godwin. They're not playing to their potential. It's Brady over Dalton. I'm going to pick Brady. Sorry, the Red Rocket or whatever he goes by.
I think it is Red Rocket.
Is it Red Rocket? I mean, that's what dogs' penises are called. So,
I mean, that's what he's been playing like this season, right? So, apt comparison. Let's play everybody's favorite game. Guess Andy Dalton's season stats. My guest is Casino. What do you think his touchdowns to INTs are this season?
I've been pretty close on these.
You have.
I'm going to say 7 and 8.
You weren't close this time. 14 and 7.
Oh,
so close on the INTs, but he's thrown 14 touchdowns. I
didn't think he was in that many games.
He's been starting since October 2nd, so it's been 2 months.
All right.
But one game against the Cardinals, he threw 4 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. And then ever since then, he's only thrown 3 interceptions and 7 touchdowns. So props to the Red Rocket, playing way better than a dog's penis. That'll be the quote taken from this episode.
There it is. That's
Casino,
what I'm good for.
Do we want to talk? Oh, I feel like we should talk quick college football.
Oh, yes. I mean, we kind of touched on it last week on our last episode, who was going to be playing what, but we didn't get into depth.
Well, I want to do the top 4 right now and what you think the final rankings are going to be. And we can add this into our picks for NFL. So it's going to be Georgia, Michigan. It's Georgia, Michigan, TCU, and USC. Georgia, I didn't have this pulled up, so it's going to take a little bit. Georgia is playing, we're recording this on Friday, so tomorrow, Saturday, they are playing LSU. Who you got in that game? Do you think Georgia hangs on?
I think Georgia hangs on, but I mean, it's 17 and a half favorites for Georgia. I think that's a little too high.
That's crazy with how LSU has been
With
playing
how
this
LSU's
season.
been playing. I mean, LSU's 9-3, but um, I think this is going to be sneaky. I got to get a sneaky in there. You haven't yet. Closer than people think. I don't think it's 17 and a half. I think more like 10. I think Georgia was going to win this, but I think they'll be sweating a little bit. I think they'll be, like, all right, we gotta actually play some good football. Like our national championship tournament, it started now. So
Yeah.
I'm going to take Georgia, and even if Georgia loses, it's against number 14. So I think Georgia won't fall out of the top
No,
four.
I don't think
They're
they would either. I think they
they're
would go 4 would be the lowest possible number they would fall. And I think that would be extreme because I agree with you. I really think they would only fall to 3.
So I think Georgia's in. Michigan is
So
in.
Michigan will play Purdue.
Purdue at 8-4. Um, I'd be absolutely shocked. And this is crazy. So Georgia's minus 17 and a half against a ranked opponent. Michigan is only 16 and a half against Purdue.
Yeah.
Which is mind blowing to me. Okay, here you go. But I do think Michigan, they know that they're this close to being, in they have one game. They're not going to squander it, because if they squander it, I think they're on the bubble of getting in, because this is against a 8-4 Purdue team.
Yeah.
For the championship game, I think you got to win it. But I do think they'll win this. So I'm for sure saying Michigan, Georgia in here. This is the one that I really, really hope. TCU versus KSU. It's minus 1.5 for TCU, and I think that's,
Dear Lord.
yeah. What's got going for TCU is it is at home. So those Horned Frogs, they are playing at home, and that's going to be the fun game to watch. 9 a.m. tomorrow, ABC. That's going to be such a fun game to watch. I really don't know what's going to go on here. I have no idea.
This is the one everybody is picking as like the upset.
Yes, and I would cry. Do you think TCU gets knocked out if they lose to ranked 10?
Oh, 100%. 100% if TCU loses this game, they drop to 10. I mean, they drop probably below 10.
Really that far?
The committee has been waiting and like licking their chops for this team to lose so they can knock them out of the playoffs. I really feel it that way. I really do.
So my fingers are crossed for TCU. I've never disliked TCU in any sport. I know you and I are both not Texas fans.
Just in general, no.
In general, but for TCU, I've never disliked TCU. I don't like KSU because the Runner Rebels used to play them more than you would think, being so far away from each other in basketball when I was in college. And that was kind of rival. Oh, hi, thank you. Thank you. And let me help you out. Here you go. Thank you. Oh, good job. So fingers crossed there. But today is going to be the first one that we find out, USC versus Utah. I think with Oregon being able to beat Utah and then Oregon just getting shellacked, but that's on par for Oregon, is they are so bipolar when it comes to important games.
Yeah.
I think USC is not going to let this opportunity go away. I truly don't. I think they're going to pull this off tonight against Utah. Starts at 5.
Oh yeah, that's right. That one's tonight.
Yeah. I don't think USC is going to lose. I really don't, because their coach that they just hired, what's his,
who?
The USC's coach. What's his name?
He's no, Cliff Kingsbury. No, okay. That's Cardinals.
Oh, darn it.
It's one of those same guys. Is Lincoln Riley. Lincoln Riley.
You. Okay, it was literally on that. But with what he's doing with USC, he wants this. there's no way that he's going to let this slip away against
Well,
Utah.
also, I think if USC wins tonight, I think Caleb Williams, their quarterback, I think he wins the Heisman. Like, I
Yes.
think this
So
is
there's a lot riding on this game, and I
yeah.
just think that there's no. I mean, but then again, too much hype. They're only 3-point favorite, but
Well, Utah beat him the first time.
yeah, but again, it was we talked about this. It was by 1 point, 42-43.
Yeah, shootout.
I really think USC is going to pull this off. I don't think they're going to let this opportunity go to waste. I mean, they can't. They can't with so many people. Like you said, the Heisman is riding on this game, and I do agree with you there. Then you also have the coach being like, "I was a right hire." He's got a lot riding on this. And USC not being in the championship for how long?
I mean, at least
just
decade at this point.
This school has been waiting for this moment. They're not going to let Utah beat them. They got a gift with Oregon losing, because it was going to be Utah versus US. Yeah, USC took Oregon's place, right?
No, I think it was other way around.
Utah
it would have been USC Oregon.
I got it, but regardless, they're not going to let this squander. They're going to take it. So I will be honest. I think it all stays the same except for the TCU. If they lose, who do you think goes in?
So this is as far as picks go, I think I completely agree with you. I think I would be legitimately shocked if either Georgia or Michigan lose. Obviously, you can make the case for Michigan losing because maybe they really did use all their emotion, all their, football plays, everything to beat Ohio State last week, right?
I mean,
Like we've always seen.
Let's say this: they don't make the national tournament. They 100% are happy this year with how they.
Oh yeah,
they smoked Ohio State. That's all you'll hear from fans.
But that's what I would be worried about if I was a Michigan fan. That beating Ohio State last week really did feel like the end of the season, right? Like that felt like what the whole season was building to. But now, 7 days later, you got to go play another game against a good Purdue team. Like they're 8-4. They're not bad.
No,
they're obviously in the championship,
right?
Yeah. So I think Georgia versus LSU is really interesting because LSU has been up and down all season, but they've been definitely more up than down. They have, if I can just pull this up right now. I just had it up. So LSU is 9-3. They have also beaten. They got beat by Texas A&M. That was the one we talked about last show where Texas A&M has just gone on a beating ranked opponent for the last 3 weeks kind of thing. But this LSU team also beat current number 6 team Alabama by 1 point. They got destroyed by Tennessee, and then they destroyed Mississippi. They destroyed Ole Miss. They destroyed Florida. So LSU very up and down, but I don't think you can take them lightly. No. But Georgia, I really feel like their offense is great. They're a top, I believe in offense, they're top 10, but in defense, they're number 1 almost across the board. So their defense, I feel like will be the difference in beating that LSU team. But both those games are going to be a lot closer than I think they will, but I would be shocked if either Georgia or Michigan lost. Now we get to TCU Kansas State. Kansas State is good.
Drink some water. You're starting to get
raspy.
Thank you. Good job. I'll get you a sucker next time I see you.
Thank you, Dad. Thank you.
I'm daddy.
So, yeah. So now when we talk about Kansas State TCU, Kansas State has a better defense than TCU, and they are, I believe, within the top 20 in the nation, which is impressive for any team, but especially for a Kansas State team that plays in a Big 12 where kind of offense rules, that conference. So in terms of TCU, they are within the top. They're right under Alabama and above Oklahoma in terms of offense. So that doesn't seem impressive to me because I don't think Oklahoma has a good offense. I think Alabama is basically all Bryce Young, and then it's
So yeah, you said it
who
right
knows.
though. You're right when you say the committee has just been waiting for TCU to mess up so they don't have to give them into the
Yeah.
tournament. And you know what? They lose this, Alabama's in.
Oh, 100%. I honestly would think well, this is the thing. So I think all four of these teams win, right? But if even two of them lose, then it becomes the who the fuck gets these. If one of them loses, it's like how the fuck can you put Ohio State in there when the last time we saw Ohio State was getting the absolute doors blown off by Michigan, right?
Yeah, but they
Like,
were up on that game to
yeah,
start.
but they were up until after halftime. And then it was like every play Michigan ran was a touchdown for 80 yards. So I think this shit in college football really matters. Like they always say, it's when you lose, not really how you lose. And in this one, it's both because not only did they lose to division rival, right? They're like main rival, but they got destroyed on the biggest stage, like just annihilated in front of that was like one of the most watched college football games of all time. So I don't know how you can justify a week after that, after not seeing them play another game, oh, all of a sudden they're in the championship. It just seems weird. Alabama, I really feel like if TCU or USC loses, I really feel like Alabama would leapfrog Ohio State and get that last spot. I
Which I
just
think
think
would
they
be
would.
crazy, but I'm sure that's what would happen.
Yeah.
Um,
So do you wish it stays these final
one,
four
oh yeah, you have somebody from every or from different
power
conferences,
conferences? Yeah.
dude. I'm all for that, all for that. That'd be so much fun to watch and refreshing.
Yeah. But I love chaos when it comes to pretty much everything. But this is one of those times where I hope all these teams win just because I want to see this college football playoffs. If even one of the teams loses, then it just becomes, do you put Ohio State? They just got killed by Michigan. Do you put Alabama? They have two losses. Do you put Tennessee because Tennessee beat Alabama? It just becomes this weird, like, how do you even
I
judge it?
don't think Tennessee goes in.
No. But then again, if Alabama leapfrogs Ohio State, which I think they would, how could you justify them going over Tennessee? Like, I don't think you could. I don't know. I don't know.
So then you would have to keep it Ohio State regardless.
Well, especially if, let's say, Georgia destroys LSU and then TCU or USC loses. Well, then it's like this team that just got destroyed by Georgia destroyed Alabama. So then I mean, they didn't destroy them, but they obviously beat them. But yeah, I just think that if these four don't lose, or if these four don't win, I don't know how you can justify putting Ohio State and Alabama over a team like Tennessee. But it's going to be interesting. I do
And
think.
so to touch on the college football a little bit, what do you think about the Rose Bowl accepting doing the 12 game playoff or 12 team playoff? They put their bid in for that.
I really do feel like if we had a 12-team playoff this year, I do feel like 12 would be the perfect number
Oh yeah.
because you would have the cutoff would be Washington. The two teams below that would be Florida State, LSU, and then it'd be Oregon State, Oregon, UCLA. I would love to see Tulane get in there. Honestly, I think they've been fun to watch, and they only have two losses where Florida State, LSU, Oregon State, Oregon, UCLA all have three losses. So I do think, yeah, it would have, because then if it was 12-team playoff, you would get a Utah, you'd get a Kansas State, you would get uh, Alabama, Ohio State. Like, I really feel like 12 teams is kind of perfect, even though I don't think I would want to expand it more than 12. I feel like 12 would be the perfect number. What do you think, Casino? What do you think the perfect number for a college football playoff would
At
be?
least 8.
Yeah, I think that's minimum. I think 4 is way too few. 6 feels way too few. 8 feels like the lowest I'm willing to go, and 12 just feels like perfect.
Yeah, I could get with that. You give everybody a chance. Like you give it like it would be fun. You'd make more money.
Oh, they'd make a shitload of money from like a more team playoffs. You'd have more playoff games,
More,
Mike.
and people would be like, "Oh, my team's in the playoffs. I want to go to that." Instead of, "Oh, they're back at this same bowl game." Be right back.
All right, now let's end the podcast talking about Casino's favorite sport. And I'm not talking about water polo. I'm talking about something that's equally as
Dude,
entertaining.
water polo is scary though. They sharpen their toenails and scratch, and they have to get
What?
checked. Oh yeah, there's the thing. They have to be checked by officials to make sure they didn't sharpen toenails and stuff because they do kicking scratch each other
Huh.
like that. That's a tactic underwater.
I didn't know that. You learn
Yep.
something new every day.
Anyway,
Uh Casino, give us the World Cup breakdown. I have a bunch of coworkers who are super pissed that Mexico lost and how
no,
they lost.
no, they lost. Yeah. So my phone is legitimately about to die. The World Cup finally finished today for the top for the 16. Let's see here. Playoffs. All right. So we have tomorrow morning USA versus Netherlands. Then following that is Argentina, Australia. Moving on Monday is Japan versus Croatia, which was a crazy one. I'll explain how that worked out. Brazil, South Korea. And then on Sunday, you have France, Poland. Sunday, England versus Senegal. Tuesday, you have yep.
Morocco,
Why
Spain,
is it
and then
saying?
Portugal, Switzerland.
Yep. Michaela, stop, baby.
She's going crazy for Morocco.
Yeah. And so the biggest upsets is Germany being knocked out of the World Cup. And they
Who
just
did they
didn't look.
get knocked out by?
Let's see here. So how did this last one break down? Um, so because things had to work out where Germany beat Costa Rica. And this is how Japan went through is for Germany to advance, Spain just had to beat Japan, and Germany had to beat Costa Rica. Germany beat Costa Rica 4-2. They had to come back fashion. So they were like, yeah, we did it. But then they finally looked at the scoreboard, and Spain was up 1-0 against Japan, and Japan scored twice. Japan moves, and with Spain losing, and Japan beating them, Japan came out of the group stage as the number one. Spain number 2, Germany's and Costa Rica eliminated, but Germany being eliminated was the big like holy crap. But it's a similar thing, kind of what happened with Mexico. Is Mexico did beat on Wednesday Saudi Arabia 2-1. However, they had to beat Saudi Arabia by at least 2 because goal differential. And how that works out is even though they beat Saudi Arabia and Argentina beat Poland, Poland still advanced because they had a better goal differential, which is goals for, goals against, than Mexico by 1. If Mexico would have tied them, then it would have gone to the next thing, which was a head-to-head, and Mexico did beat Poland. So it was this close, but hey, don't let Saudi Arabia score on you or score more goals. It is what it is.
I don't know much about soccer, but I do know whoever scores the most goals in a match wins.
Yeah. And so a crazy another one that happened on Wednesday was even though they got eliminated, but it was still fun for them. I can never say the name right. Tunisia, Tunisia, whatever. Like they made it from their region, whatever. Thank you. They beat France, and they're still a favorite. France still advances as the number 1 out of the stage, but they rested a lot of people because they knew that regardless, they were gonna advance as the number 1. So that was
Yeah.
still cool. So yeah, now it is all down to it. But let's talk about a little bit about USA. I mean, I know we do have some of our From Holland, right? We have
Uh, no, it
who
was.
who are our subscribers again? I'm sorry, subscribers.
I will pull it up. Keep vamping.
Yeah.
Keep vamping.
Anyway, so USA did beat Iran 1-0, nil meaning 0 for those non-soccer folk or football
Whoa.
folk, whatever you want to call it.
Whoa, he's
International
using
sport folk.
technical terms, folks. Buckle in.
Yeah. But it came down to Christian Pulisic, again, US's number one guy, not their captain. Their captain is the youngest captain since like 1950. I think it was 1950 or 1952, something like that.
Brussels, Belgium.
Belgium. Got it. Close. It's close. But I was gonna say Netherlands. Ooh, our fans versus us. But so yeah, Christian Pulisic literally gave his body for that goal, for the 1-0 over Iran. Goes in towards the end of the first half, and it was a nice cross in by Weston McKennie and headed over from Dest. And what happened was Pulisic was able to get a foot on it, get the good goal, but he was running full speed, and so was the goalie, and they collided, and he took a knee to the pelvic region. A lot of people thought he got hit in the nuts. Some people thought in the stomach, but it was the pelvic, and he actually had a pelvic contusion. It just got told today that he is cleared to play. They did clear him.
I had
to
one
play.
of those my wedding night. Pelvic contusion.
That's great. But he has been cleared to play. It was day to day. Yesterday in his press conference, he did not say, "Hey, I'm going to play" or "I'm not going to play." He was very professional about it. Like, "Hey, this is what happened. The medical team and I were working on our best to get me available for the round of 16." He goes, "If there's any chance of me playing, I'm going to play." And so he'll be out there. But the thing that is a big question for US going into the round of 16 is who are they going to start? Because when they subbed everybody out, 3 of them being to injury in the last game against Iran, the last day of group play for them, the subs came in and they looked flat, beyond flat. Like there was 15 minutes where I was like, okay, well, Iran's going to score a goal and we're going to be out because we had a win to go through. We couldn't draw, we couldn't lose.
Yeah.
And there was 15 minutes there where they had 4. Iran had in 15 minutes 4 quality shots, high risk shots on the goalie. The goalie had to make a couple saves. He made one that was really intense. There was also they had to look at VR to see, and the main ref was listening in. You know, he was waiting for the call to see if it was another penalty by the same guy who cost us the penalty in the Wales game. But he did not. He did have his hand on his shoulder in the box as the ball was coming in, but he did not pull him down. He had it on there, and the guy felt the contact and dropped, and so they called it. No, get up. You didn't get fouled. But I mean, in the moment, I thought it was. It looked like, because I knew that the guy grabbed his shoulder, and I thought he pulled him down. But as they slow-moed it and watched it, it was clear he had his hand on his shoulder, but he did not pull in any gesture. The guy just got touched on the shoulder and was like, "Oh, I'm going to try to draw a foul." But regardless, the ball was still made contact with the player, and he almost scored. But our goalie, Matt Turner, who plays for my EPL team, Arsenal, was able to fall quick enough and basically sat on the ball, and it rolled behind him, and one of our defenders came and just booted it away because it was a free ball behind our goalie in between him and the net. So it was a nerve-wracking situation, but US did advance. So there's some heavy hitters that are out of it, and right now, and Brazil they did win today, so Brazil is through as well, and they're still the heavy favorite to win it all.
I work with so many Brazilians who are fucking cocky. So
they are the favorites to win this year still.
I actively root against Brazil. Also, sorry to Canada for losing. They are, besides the United States, where we get the most downloads. So to all my Canadian peeps, stay classy.
For all of our Canadian peeps, sorry that you did not advance.
Losing to Morocco. I mean,
and that was an easy. I'll be honest, that was a bit of an easy easier group, Croatia, Belgium, Canada, Morocco. That sounds like it's a sign for me to say, we're done. My kid's getting annoyed that she's done eating and she wants to play, so I gotta go play with her.
Jesus. Have fun with that. This has been the Only Sports Podcast. I am hoping that by our next podcast Monday, my voice will be better. So we will have new episodes up every Tuesday and Friday on the Only Sports Podcast. I'm Will. That's Casino. We are in for, that's Casino's child screaming bloody murder. Thank God she is alive, though. And hopefully my voice is better Monday. We'll see you Tuesday with a new episode, and enjoy sports. Oh, wait.